Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kassiah, this is SiahSwag. And today I've been wanting to sew this pattern up for quite a while. I'm going on a little trip to see some family and I'm like, I think I need this bag for myself. And I thought I would film me making it. So I have made for you guys the Fun Bobby Backpack by Sincerely Jen Patterns. It is adorable. I love it so much. It's gonna make a great travel bag. It would make a great diaper bag. If you sized it down just a little bit, it would be a great everyday bag. I think this bag is so awesome. This is my first time sewing it, so I hadn't, gone through all the steps before, so I learned as I went along. I love the way I interfaced it. I think I would do it the same way again. This is all hawthorn threads. This is Emmeline, the same I used in my last tutorial, and inside I have waterproof canvas. So let's go over the features. On the front, it's got this cute big zipper pocket. And I used one of these zipper tassel pulls. I have these on my website. I really like them a lot. I accidentally scratched my faux leather right there with my needle when I was pulling it out. And so I went in and I put a scrap of leather over it as an accent, and it covered up my hole. Anyways, it has these really big side pockets, can fit nice big cups or big cell phones, whatever. On the back, we have this good size, another big zipper pocket there. And it has a double pull on the top here. And it is so big and spacious on the inside. There's a zipper pocket up here, a divided slip pocket on that side. You could even, if you wanted more pockets, you could do another set of these side pockets on the inside, give you more around there. These fit, look at this, these fit a big old cup. That's my Starbucks cup. It fits right in there. So they're big. I love this pattern. There were a couple of challenging parts on it for me, but I think, after doing it another time and understanding what I'm doing, it wouldn't be a problem at all. I think maybe advanced beginner for this backpack. And yeah, that's the size. I love it so much, and I'm so excited that I'm keeping it. I also added purse feet on the bottom. That's not in the pattern. I just thought I wanted purse feet, and that's it. I love it. All right, here's the tutorial. Enjoy. Okay, let's go over our pieces for the Fun Bobby backpack. Like I probably already said, I've never made this backpack before, so I'm not sure what interfacing combinations I'm gonna like. I am using Decaville Light on my outside pieces and Woven Fuse 2 on all of my cotton pieces. I'm using waterproof canvas on the inside, so no interfacing. On my bottom panel, I did a layer of Decaville Heavy cut out of my seam allowances and then foam on top, and I also added purse feet just because I figured when I sat my backpack down, I probably wanted some feet on the bottom, so I went ahead and did that. I did 2.5 inches in and 1.5 inches down. I just kind of guesstimated where I wanted them, and then a center one. Okay, so our pieces for your front, front and back, you have these top pieces here. I did the Decaville Light and the Woven Fuse. This is just cotton, so you should have 2 of those. Your back bottom I have my outside piece, which has Decaville with the woven fuse, and then I have 2 cotton pieces for my zipper pocket on the back. So you should have 3 total pieces. And the pattern piece has you folding down at this dotted line and cutting it differently. So pay attention to that when you're cutting out your pattern. My 2 outside pocket pieces. Okay, I've got a lining and then 2 of my exteriors. And I'm using the same faux leather that I used in the last tutorial. I had enough to do another bag for myself because I love it so much. So I am using that again. There's this back bottom side strip that you need. I did Decaville light on that because it's part of like the main back panel piece. And then your side pieces for like your gusset. I have 2 with my Decaville light and then 2 of my lining just waterproof canvas. My front bottom pieces, I've got my exterior and my 2 lining pieces for that. And then what's left? My bottom piece I already told you about. I have slip pocket pieces, 2 of those. I have zipper pocket pieces, 2 of those. Although that's a really big zipper pocket, I may size that down a little bit when I get to it. And then my bottom lining piece, and then your 2 lining pieces for the inside, or 2 big pieces like this. I have 2 backpack straps with my sliders on. You don't use swivel clips for this because you are sewing it right onto the bag. And then you have your handle. I am doing 2 handles on mine. I'm doing a front and a back because I kind of like the look of 2 handles on it. So I will show you with this handle how I did all of these straps. It's the same exact process. I just do an extra row of stitching on the handle one. So I'll show you that with that. And you should have 2 connector pieces. I've done one already, and I'll do another one for your straps. A overlay for where you connect your handles and your straps for the back of the bag. And I'm doing 2 little pieces on my front handle. I'm gonna put them over the raw edges and sew onto that. I've seen that done before and I like the look of it, so I'm gonna try that. These are just 2 by 2 squares. And then you should have zipper tape, and I'm using rectangle rings for my connectors. You should have 2 sliders and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zippers, I believe. Maybe 6. Maybe 6 zippers. We'll see. Okay, those are all of our pieces, so let's start making this bag. Okay, so let's get started. We're gonna start with the back. I'm gonna follow the pattern probably pretty much exactly because again, it's the first time I'm doing this, so I'll just be reading the instructions to myself as we go along, not out loud, obviously. So you want your exterior main back bottom piece, the one that has either the foam or Decaville or whatever you are using for your stabilizer interfacing, whatever. And you want a zipper, and we are just doing that on the left side of the panel. And I'm gonna baste that on first. It says sew it on at a 3/8 inch seam allowance. I'm not going to do that. I'm just gonna baste it because then you're sewing it again with the lining part. And my zipper is face down and my panel is face up, right side up. Okay, and then you want to get the one that is the same width. So there's one piece that's a little bit longer That goes on the back side. So you want the one that's the same width as this front piece, and put it face down and make a sandwich here. And then you're gonna sew that, if you can, do a 3/8 seam allowance. I'm doing a 1/4 because I don't have a zipper put on, and that's what I can do with this one. The only difference that'll make is that I may have to trim the panel down when I'm all done. It may be a little bit, wider than I need it to be, which is not a big deal at all. And you do want to make sure that your zipper is closing as you go up, okay? All right, so you got that on. You're going to flip both these pieces back, okay? And then, I'm going to redo my zipper after I'm done here. I'm going to top stitch that. Okay, so that's the first step. Now next you're going to take this side piece, you're going to lay it face down on top of the zipper just like this, and we're going to baste that on. So after you sew that on, you want to just place your other pocket directly down underneath, and we're going to sew again along the zipper side just like we did, either using a 3/8 or a 1/4 like I am. Okay, and then you want to flip this top piece. You want to flip it out. You want your seam allowance going out towards this top piece. You don't want it going under, because if it goes under, it'll get in the way of your zipper. It won't work. So flip it over like that, and we're gonna top stitch. Okay, I'm going to reinstall my zipper real quick. Okay. Just like that. And we want to make sure that this panel is 12.5 wide, which mine might be, yeah, mine's a little bit more. So I'm going to go and just trim mine down. Mine's 1/4 of an inch longer than that. So I'm going to go trim that down, and then we'll baste this whole pocket area together and go to the next step. Okay, so I trimmed it down to the right size. I basted the pocket together. Next, you want to get one of your top pieces. we are going to place it right sides together up here at the top and center it up, clip it on, and we're gonna sew that on at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay, so do that first. Everything's a 1/2 inch seam allowance in this pattern unless otherwise noted differently. All right, I'm gonna flip that up and I'm going to top stitch through that. I have seen people do other tutorials on this bag with different ways to add a slip pocket on the back. I think Lauren Mormino shows a way to do a slip pocket behind this zipper pocket, so even one more pocket on it, which is super cool. I'm not doing that because I'm just trying to follow the pattern and understand what it says first before I do any other things to it. So, but I think that is an excellent idea. If you wanted to do that, you can go check out her video. Okay, so that is what we have so far. So set that aside for a minute. Okay, so this is one connector I've done already. Here's my connector piece. You could use a piece of double-sided tape along the middle. I think I actually will. Let's do that. You can draw a line down the middle too. That might be easier. I just did a crease because it doesn't have to be perfect for this. So just fold your raw edges in. On both sides. Put your connector in, whatever connector you're doing. Okay. And then you're going to sew that together, just like that. All right, so do that for both connectors. You should have 2 of those. My handle, all I did was fold it to the center. I didn't use tape on my handle because I'm doing a couple rows of stitching and I don't want to worry about my needle getting all gummed up. Okay, so I just kind of eyeball it, fold them to the center. I did mark my center there. Fold them up. And this, the way I'm doing the handles, is the same way you do crossbody strap and the backpack straps that go to this bag. This is the same way that I did those. So just repeat this for the backpack straps. Okay, so I've got it all folded in. And now I'm going to sew down the sides, and I am going to do a double row of stitching for these handles. Just because I like the look. You don't have to. All right, so there are my handles. And like I said, I've already done my backpack straps, just like I did these. And I put my sliders on them. Okay, I just put it through. I did a single row of stitching and I did a rivet. Okay, so that's what your backpack strap should look like. Okay, so we are going to place our handle. I'm actually going to do it on the front and the back of our piece here. Okay, so on your pattern piece, there's markings for where your handle and your strap placement is. I went ahead, you can either like cut those out of your pattern piece and mark them onto your exterior. I just did the measurements from my pattern piece and marked them on here. So I'm first going to place my handle, and I put just a small piece of double-sided tape. Okay, and I'm going to sew my handle on first, and then I will sew my straps. This part in particular doesn't have to be very pretty because you are going to cover it up with an overlay. So you just want to do a good box stitch onto your handle so it's secure. Okay, again, it doesn't have to be anything perfect or pretty. And I'm doing an X through it here. Give it just that extra. And then back up. Okay. Just like that. And then go ahead and repeat the other side. Okay, so that's my handle, and my tape went in the trash. Got my tape. All right, so now you want to get your straps. Okay, so for your straps, you want to go ahead and put them on your connectors, because then we're going to sew up the top piece. So go ahead and hook them into your, put the connector on and put them through the other side of the slider here. Okay, just like that. And then we're going to connect them to our panel. Okay. So you want your connector or your strap, it's going to be coming down like this. So make sure you have it going the right way. You don't want it going up like that, okay? Because then it'll face like that. So make sure you have it the right way, which is wrong side up pretty much. And I already have my markings there. And then we just put that, attach that on just like we did with our handle. And we do both straps. All right, make sure it's going down the right way. It looks good. Go ahead and repeat with your next strap. Okay, so after you have that on, you want to put your overlay on. Okay, so get your handle overlay piece, fold your raw edges in, and then I put a piece of double-sided tape along the back. I folded them in with double-sided tape and then put another piece on. And then we're gonna put this over our raw edges here that we just sewed. So mark 2 inches down from the top of your piece, and we're going to lay this over all of the handles and stuff. Just like that. Okay, I am going to top stitch this on along all sides. You can also go and put some rivets to reinforce if you want to do that as well. I think I will. So go ahead and sew that on. All right, just like that. So go ahead and put some rivets in if you want to do that, which I am gonna do real quick. And then we will, actually, let's just do this part real quick. We wanna just connect our connectors down here at the bottom. I think I'm gonna do an inch up. It says a 1/2 inch, but I'm gonna do an inch because I would rather it be out of my way for when I'm sewing everything else together. So I'm measuring an inch up on both sides. And you want to put them on like at an angle. Okay. About right there. Okay, and go ahead and baste those down. And it says you can baste at a 1/4 inch seam allowance, so I just did an 1/8, and now I'm going to do a 1/4. 1/4. And then go ahead and repeat on the other side. Just try and get them as even as possible. I think that looks even. Okay. I am going to go ahead and put my handle on my front backpack piece. I'll use the same measurements and I'll do the same idea. I'm just doing those little square overlays for that, and then we'll go to the next step. Okay, so I just put some rivets right there and right there, okay? So I'm gonna set that aside. Let's work on our front zipper panel pocket, okay? Already put my name tag right there. Okay, I have my zipper, and you do this just like kind of our back one, so you want your exterior right side up. I've got my zipper. I'm gonna go right side down and I'm gonna baste in place. I don't have my pull on yet. I'm gonna put my pull on after the fact because A, it's a tassel, so it might get in the way a little bit, and B, it's just a little easier not to have to pull it back and forth. So I'm just basting this in place first. If you don't feel like you have to baste first, then don't. It's your call. Okay, so get your lining piece right side down on top, and then I'm gonna do a 1/4 inch. If you can do 3/8, awesome, do 3/8. All right, I'm gonna flip it over and I'm going to top stitch that. All right, and then you want to get your next piece, which is your top. Okay, so this is what you got so far, and we're going to put it up here and baste it on. Like that. And then you want to get your pocket piece, and we're going to put it on the back just like that. Okay, just like we did on the other pocket pretty much. All right. Okay, so when it's all said and done, that's what the front's gonna look like. This is your back, right? This is your back piece that you just put on. It's face down because you're making a pocket just like you did with your back zipper. So you're gonna wanna push this part in the seam allowance up, and we're gonna top stitch that, okay? Top stitch that up. Right. Baste your pocket shut. I probably am going to need to trim mine down just a little bit because I did a 1/4 inch seam allowance here, not a 3/8. So I'm going to trim this down so it matches the other side, and then we'll move on to our lining pieces. Okay, so I did have to trim down my piece by about, I don't know, a 1/2 inch to 1 inch. To make it match the other side. I put on my zipper pull. Don't forget to do that if you left it off for that part. And then I basted my pocket all together. So that is my other side. This is my front pocket piece. Okay, so I'm gonna set that aside, and we're gonna work on our lining pieces now. So I'm gonna do my zipper pocket. I did trim my zipper pocket a little bit shorter because I just don't want it as big, because I mean this is huge. This is a huge inside because it's a huge bag, and I just don't want my pocket as big. So that's totally your call. I did my rectangle 9.5 inches long, and I am going to go ahead and place that on my lining. I'm just going to, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and clip my centers too. Just in case I need that. I need to go do that on all my pieces still. Okay. I'm going to do that. And then I want to place it 1 inch down. Whoops. Chalk is kind of messy sometimes, but that's okay. It just wipes away. All right. And then I want to put my pocket on right there. Looks about right. It's a pretty big pocket. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and sew around my rectangle. I go down to a smaller stitch length for this part. It does help. Usually about a 3.5 to a 4. Okay, go ahead and sew that on. It's a good thing that this pocket is so big because this is what we're pulling our bag through when we're done. So you do want this pocket to be nice and wide. I just didn't want it as deep. So definitely don't make it a skinnier pocket because you will struggle at the end if you do that. All right, so that's what we have. I'm gonna cut that open. Do a little Y seam right here, corner in. Actually, I do my long one first. Down, and then do the corner down, like the shape of a Y. Just like that. Other side. All right, go ahead and put this through to the other side. I'm going to take it to my iron and very carefully iron this. You don't want to put long amounts of heat on waterproof canvas. It'll melt it. So either use a Teflon sheet for protection or just do small amounts. So pull it through like that, give it a good press, and we'll install the zipper. Okay, so I pressed it to the back. I've got my zipper. I put some double-sided tape. I'm gonna place that in the pocket. I like to take off my bottom tape first. And stick that in there. Get it as even as you can, all the way down. Flip the top part up and take the other side of the tape off. Just like that. All right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and sew around that zipper. I accidentally came all the way out. That's okay. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay, there is my zipper. I'm gonna go ahead and add the back piece. We don't want to sew up the bottom because, like I said before, we're gonna be pulling our end bag through that. So just sew along the 3 sides to close it up. Okay. That is our one side with the zipper pocket. You could even, I would think, put a slip pocket underneath here as well, so you have the zipper and the slip. I think that would be cool. I might go back and do that. We'll see. Okay, so next we want to do the slip pocket. You just get your 2 slip pocket pieces. We're going to put them right sides together. And we're going to sew along the top and the bottom, the top edge and the bottom edge at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. All right, and then turn that through, right side out. Just like that. So you have a big old long tube. I'm going to take that to my iron and I'm going to give it a good press real quick and then we'll top stitch it. Okay, I gave my slip pocket a good press. I'm going to top stitch the top of it. All right, and then I already measured and separated it in half, okay? We're gonna put it on our piece and we want it 3 inches up from the bottom. Just like that. Clip that on and I'm gonna sew it all in one swoop. All right. All right, here we go. Oh, ran out of bobbin. Finish stitching up there, and then we'll go to the next step. We are now going to attach our pieces, both exterior and both lining, to our main zipper. So I have a zipper pull here. It's the same length as my top edges of the exterior and linings. I've got a double pull put on it. I am going to take it and first, my center's clipped. I'm going to baste it onto my front exterior first, and then I will put on the lining with it. Okay, now the one thing about putting on the lining next is that you have to begin and end at 1/2 inch marks. So you want to mark on both your sides a 1/2 inch in, and that is your beginning and ending mark, okay? So you want to place that on top. You could just leave your zipper pulls off too and put them on when you're done. It's up to you. I do have my centers clipped there so I can line it up. Okay. So, oh, I wonder which one. Does it matter which one I put on this? Just a second. With the slip pockets. Okay, so I got the right ones. You want the ones with the slip pocket. I don't know if it makes a huge difference, but usually you want your zipper pocket on the other side of your bag. Okay, so I have that on there. I am going to begin at that 1/2 inch mark and stop at that 1/2 inch mark because we want these two pieces to be somewhat separate for when we put the bag all together, just like you would a gusset type zipper, okay? Okay, remember to stop at that 1/2 inch mark. All right. And then you want to flip it over and we're going to top stitch. So that's what I have. We're going to flip it and we're going to top stitch, but we're going to have to remember to start and stop at that 1/2 inch, okay, when you top stitch. So I am going to mark my 1/2 inch real quick. I don't know what happened to my tiny ruler. Just marking my 1/2 inch so I know where to stop. Okay. All right, go ahead and top stitch that. All right, now go ahead and repeat for the other side of your bag. So that's the front. Okay, so go ahead and repeat for the next side here. Okay, get your other piece and attach it to the other side. And remember to mark that 1/2 inch and begin it in there. So my right sides are together. My zipper is in the middle. Okay. Your lining should be facing each other and your exteriors should be facing each other on this. See, my linings are facing each other and my exteriors are facing each other. Okay. All right, go ahead and sew that down and begin and end at that 1/2 inch mark, keeping your little edges free. Okay, and then we're gonna turn it and top stitch again. And begin and end at those 1/2 inch marks. Kind of got a lot to work with here. This is a nice big bag. I'm gonna move some stuff out of the way here. All right. I'm gonna mark my 1/2 inch here. 1/2 inch here. Okay. All right, go ahead and top stitch the bad boy. It's huge. Okay. Whew. Nice big old bag. There we go. All right, so you should have your exteriors and your linings attached to your zipper. Next step. So after you have this attached to the zipper, we want to add our side gussets. Mine, oh, that's right. Okay, so these are your sides. You have 2 exterior, 2 lining. Okay, so we are going to, this is where that 1/2 inch comes into play because we are going to want to clip that on one end, and we are only attaching it to our exterior side. We will fold our lining side back. We will not be sewing through that lining side. Okay, so your zipper is also going to be sewn to your exterior on this side. Okay, so go ahead and clip just your exterior pieces onto that side gusset. I'll flip it over so you can see. We're gonna sew it this way so I can make sure that my lining pieces are out of my stitching, okay? All right, so a 1/2 inch. It should be a 1/2 inch, I think. Yep. Okay, go ahead and do that. Once that is sewn on, you're going to flip it and we will top stitch, and just be careful. See how that's sewn on? My lining is not attached. I will have to make sure that my lining is folded down when I top stitch as well, because we don't want that lining to be in our top stitching either. So I'm gonna go ahead and it looks like my zipper panel area is a little bit smaller than my gusset. I think it'll be okay. I'm not sure what I did there, but it's fine. Okay, my lining is not in my seam allowance right now. I'm not catching my lining in there, okay? Very important that you don't catch your lining in there. Okay, so it is separate. Okay, so you want to go ahead and repeat that for the other side. Okay. Okay. Again, my lining is out of the way. So now we're going to take it and we want to attach the lining side to it. So get your lining gusset. And again, you're doing the same thing. It's only your lining that you are sewing. You are not sewing your exterior into this. It helps if you sew it from this side so you can kind of make sure that you've got that piece out of your way. Okay, so top stitching if you want to, same thing, but keep that out of the way and top stitch that down. Now you do have this like little hole right there. So what you can do is you can put both pieces together just like that. So they're together and we can stitch over our top stitch again right here, just along my zipper, and that'll close up that hole, but still keep our two pieces separate like we need to have them. Oops, sorry. So I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna close up and sew right there on my zipper. Okay, so now there's no longer that hole and it's all closed up. Okay, go ahead and repeat the lining for the other side. Okay, let's move on. So before moving on any further, go ahead and clip your centers on the bottom of these gussets on your lining and your exteriors. Make sure you have those marked because those will be important for the next step. So get your pocket pieces and we're gonna put those together real quick. Just pretty simple, like most side pocket pieces. You want to get them right sides together, and we're going to use a 1/2 inch seam allowance on the top and sew them along the top. Go ahead and do that along both of them. Okay. All right, I am going to trim that down. It's got just a slight curve, so I'm going to use my little pinking shears here. Not a huge curve, but just a tiny one. So trim that down on both. Flip them, and then flip them right side out, and then we'll top stitch along the top. It's just got a slight little curve to it that you want to keep in there. Okay, I'm going to top stitch that. I'm going to go ahead and baste this together as well so it stays together while I'm putting it on my exterior. And then clip the center of this pocket on the bottom. You'll need that to attach it. So there's our first one. So we're gonna go ahead and do the next one here. Same exact process. Okay, get just your exterior piece, and we want to attach your side pocket to that. So that's where the clipped bottoms come into play here. Okay. And then just start clipping that up. To the top. Just like that, and then go along the other side. And then you want to baste that pocket on. It's a nice big pocket. I bet that'll fit my nice big Starbucks cups. That'd be awesome. Okay, so baste that on. Make sure you're not getting your lining in there as you go. Quite a big piece we're doing here. Okay. A lot of bag to work with. Okay, so, ooh, that's nice. We got our pocket on there. That's nice and big. Go ahead and repeat on the next side. Make sure your lining's out of the way. All right, so we got our 2 side pockets on. And I think next we want to put on our base. So let's get our 2 bases. And it says to make sure and mark the short sides of both of your bases. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And my other one is already marked, so I'm good on that one. Okay, so we want to attach our exterior first. So my lining's out of the way. And I am going to put my base piece on my exterior. And we are sewing it at a 1/2 inch seam allowance again, as with most of this pattern. Okay, go ahead and do that. Sorry about that. My camera's in the way of this big old bag. Okay. 1/2 inch seam allowance. All right, you're gonna wanna top stitch that as well. Seam allowance going towards the base of your piece. Okay. Just like that. And then you're going to want to flip it and do the other side. Okay. Okay. Same steps. Now this top stitching part is a little tricky because you kind of have to get in the middle of your bag. But it's doable. And I want it going down this way. Sorry, just a second. Okay, just like this. You kind of have to sew with the bag circling your foot here. So just go slow. I'm so sorry. This part is so hard to record what I'm doing because it's completely covered by the bag. So I'm just top stitching very slowly and carefully. Well, don't do what I did. My needle just scratched my faux leather. Shoot. Well, what can you do? All right. So now we have a big old circle, and you want to do the same thing on the other side. Okay. Let's go ahead and put the bottom of your lining on. And use that 5/8 seam allowance on your lining. Actually might be easier on your lining to top stitch that inside area, so I will do the top stitch. Okay, get it to the other side and repeat. Okay, We have our sides on, we have our bottoms on. Let's start putting this whole thing together. I just wanted to show you guys real quick. So when I had pulled it out from top stitching the bottom, my needle scratched my faux leather and pretty much made a hole in it. So it made me pretty sad. But, haha, I unstitched this side here and kind of took the zipper pull off and was able to grab a hold of this piece. And I just put a little accent, you know, leather right there with some rivets, covered up the hole, good as new. Let's continue. So the last main part is we are putting everything together. So you want to open up your main zipper, open up your inside zipper, because that's what we're turning the whole bag through. And we are going to clip our lining together and sew it and our exterior. So I've already clipped one side of my lining here, okay? So it was important that you clipped your centers on your side and your short edge of your bottom piece, because that's what you're gonna match up first. So you match up your centers down here and you wanna clip and match up all of your edges. So I've got that one clipped, and I'm gonna go ahead and come to this other side and I'll show you how I clipped that. So I did my center first down here. Now I have never made this bag before, so I'm just trying to follow the instructions. I don't know how this end part will come out for me. Hopefully it'll come out good. All right, I'm gonna clip that first, and then I'm gonna come up to this corner part and I'm gonna start clipping that. Now there were lines for this curve that you could mark on your piece. I didn't do that, and I hope that doesn't hurt me. We'll see. That could be really stupid of me for not marking those lines on here. And it could be fine. I don't know. I don't know which one it's gonna be. I'll know by the end of this tutorial. How about that? And you are gonna have a little bit extra on this lining, because remember you sewed we sewed the bottom piece with a bigger seam allowance. So you do have a little bit more to kind of work with, especially if you have waterproof canvas. It's not the easiest with the extra there. Okay, and then go to this side. I feel like this side's gonna be a little tricky when I go to sew it, just because of this zipper pocket right here. But hopefully it'll be okay. All right, so I have both. I already did my other side. So I have both of my linings clipped, and I'm going to sew this together. I'm going to start at a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and then I'm going to increase to a 5/8, and then come back in with that 1/2 inch seam allowance to just make sure lining fit better, and we'll go from there. Make sure as you're sewing that you're not catching your zipper pocket in there at all anywhere. Make sure you go back up to that 1/2 inch up at the top. Okay, so that's one side. And we're gonna flip it and do the other side. Okay, let's see, do we trim that down? So go ahead and trim all of your seam allowances here, and then we will repeat with the exterior. Okay, so now we're going to clip together the exterior pieces. I'm gonna trim this down just a little bit here. Okay, so I already did this side. We're doing the same exact thing. Match up your centers first and go along and get everything clipped together. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this side real quick. fit together pretty dang nice. Okay. Let's sew this up. We're almost there. All right, it took a little work. It slipped right there, do you see that? But other than that, I think we're good. Okay, we're gonna head to the other side here. I don't know if one way is easier or better than the other. If you're really struggling with it staying clipped, you could always staple it. That's always an option. My clips seem to want to slip right now. Okay. Here we go. Last side, guys. Last side. And then we get to turn it. Okay, there we go. I don't know how perfect that's gonna be. like I said, this is my first time sewing this one. All right, so I'm gonna trim this down a little bit, not where my connectors are though. I won't trim that, and then we'll turn it out. All right, let's turn this bag and see what I have done. There she is. All right, let's sew up the pocket. You get all your corners pressed out here. And then that's it. That's the only thing that you have to do. I like that. Okay. Okay, so the last thing to do is just sew up this pocket and we are done. That is it. That is our backpack. Yay! Okay guys, we're all done. This is our finished product. I absolutely loved it. It was a fun backpack. I think next time it'll go a lot quicker for me since I know what I'm doing. I think these side gussets will take a couple of rounds of practicing. It's not perfect. You can see that it's not perfect, but it still looks good. Like, it doesn't matter. It still looks really good. I'm excited that I get to use this. This is all for me. There's so many fun things about this bag, and I know there are modifications out there for other things to put on it, which are awesome. These side pockets are so big. I had fun sewing this up. It's definitely one I will make again. I for sure will want to make another one of these. Look how big that is inside. I think my sister needs one. What do you guys think? I think so. Anyways, I would probably interface it the same way. I like the feel of it. Yeah. It's a great pattern. Go check it out. Go get it. Go make one up. Let me know if you guys have any questions down below in the comments. I try to answer them all. Please like and subscribe for more videos. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.